Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my pick and analysis for the 2016-17 NFC wildcard matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Seattle Seahawks. Well, anyway, people, I'm going to take the Seahawks at home in this game. Now, Seattle has lost that aura of invincibility at home that they've had in previous seasons, but they did finish a solid 7-1 at home this season. They've struggled a little bit. Last 6 games, they are 3-3. They've lost Earl Thomas. I think that is playing a huge role in their recent struggles. Seattle is number 3. They finished number 3 in the regular season in scoring defense, giving up about 18 points per game. Detroit is 3-5 on the road. They've lost 3 consecutive games. They have been struggling, to say the least. They've given up 73 points in their last 2 games, and Detroit is just they're number 13 in scoring defense, which is not bad, but it's not, of course, nearly as good as what Seattle has done. Detroit has given up about 22 points per game. I think what's going to be key in this game is the fact that Detroit has struggled to run the ball. They're going to be without running back Theo Riddick. He's been put on the injured reserve list. Detroit is only number 30 in the NFL in terms of rushing yards per game at about 82. Whereas Seattle is number 7 in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game at about 93. It's going to be a daunting task for Detroit to run this ball, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to have to be very one-dimensional, and quarterback Matt Stafford, I don't believe he is 100%. I think his finger is still going to be bothering him a little bit, and Seattle right now, I understand they don't seem like that perennial Super Bowl contender that we've seen in the last few seasons. They have struggled a little bit this year. It's hard to believe that you could say, okay, they look like they're struggling a little bit when they finish 10-5-1, but it's a far contrast to what we're accustomed to seeing Seattle do. They just don't quite seem like that dominant team they once were. I understand Earl Thomas, losing him is factoring strongly. They don't have running back Marshawn Lynch anymore. They're obviously not running the ball nearly as efficiently and effectively as they did last season. Quarterback Russell Wilson, he's had career lows this season in a number of categories in terms of his rushing yards is what really stood out to me. And he's been hampered by injuries a little. That's factored in, I think, to Seattle going down a little bit in terms of their caliber this season. I still think they're good enough to beat the Lions because the Lions really are struggling there. Seattle is still playing a little bit better than the Lions lately. They are at home, and now with the Lions, they're just going to have a very hard time running the ball. And not only did they give up 73 points in the last 2 games, they gave up over 800 yards to the defense. The defense has yielded over 1,800 yards over the past 2 weeks. So I think in this particular game, even though Seattle is not exactly playing lights out, I think that they're going to be able to basically make the Lions one-dimensional. They're going to be able to contain, at the very least, the Lions' running game. And keep in mind, and also, I think the experience is going to factor in this game. Quarterback Russell Wilson, 7-3 all-time in the postseason, meaning he has played 10 postseason games. Quarterback Matt Stafford for the Lions is 0-2 all-time in the postseason. Of course, that means he's only been in 2 postseason games. And Detroit actually had to rely on Washington to lose to the New York Giants, and a game that Washington really wasn't supposed to lose, considering that game for the Giants was really insignificant. And the Washington, basically, they just kind of went flat in that particular game, and that's how Detroit basically got in, kind of through a backdoor method, but they still got in. I understand that. But the way it looks right now, the way Detroit their defense has been ravaged with injuries. Many may play, but I believe a number of the people on defense won't be at 100%. And for all these reasons, I do like Seattle to prevail at home. Russell Wilson my understanding, has not lost a playoff game yet in his career at Seattle. I don't think it's going to happen this time either. So I do like the Seahawks to win at home. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.